Hey everybody! Hey everybody! Hey everybody! Hey everybody! What is up? I wanted to make my podcast video around when the Patriots did the official signings, but I was sick for like 2 days. Like my nose was just constantly clogged, and I couldn't do anything. That light is right in my eyes. Yeah, so let's just talk about them. They made a absolute flurry of draft picks, free agency signings. Mike Vrabel really wanted to transform this team, and I don't think it's going to be a year of a rebuild. Like, I think they're still going to need to go through this, but having a high draft pick this year does definitely help. Because of free agency, the mock drafts that I've been seeing has them picking Travis Hunter instead of the DL, because now that they have DL. Now that we have DL, I am a little swaying to Travis Hunter, though I'm still not a huge fan on him. But I like him better than Sanders. I know we don't need a quarterback, but I like him better because Sanders didn't go to the combine or the draft day or whatever it's called, which I think it's weird. Even though he's like a top one draft pick, like he might go number one, it's still a good thing to go to those events and just like show your skills off. Maybe you're better, maybe you're worse, but it's better than not going, because every team would think, oh, what's wrong with him? Oh, he thinks he's too good, or they would start thinking all these bad things about him. But we're not here to talk about potential Patriots. We are here to talk about current and currently signed Patriots. I've been watching all of the videos on YouTube about the types of players they are. I've been watching all of the press conferences. All of them seem generally happy to be here. I mean, if they didn't, they wouldn't have signed contracts. And I see people still complaining that the Patriots didn't get a top wide receiver, but they tried. They tried to offer them. They just didn't want to come to the team. But I'm glad that we are seeing reports out there that's not just saying, the Patriots were in on this particular player. I'm glad that we're seeing actual offers sent out, because when you do that, it's completely in the other person's hand, just if they want to come play for the Patriots. But the current list of players isn't as long as I thought it would be, but I also think that Mike Vrabel realizes this isn't going to be a 1-year rebuild. He's also probably keeping some cap in his back pocket for some potential trades. It's kind of a good thing that he's leaving some money on the table, because there was obviously he wanted to use it on big time players, but they said no, and there's not really much you can do about that without potentially overpaying for them. And I'm okay that he left money on the table, because now he has options. Instead of it just being thrown to a bunch of players that they don't technically need, he now has the options of using it for next year, or in the draft, or in trading. But some of the big names that came the Patriots' way one of the players was D tackle Milton Williams, who was a big-time name from the Super Bowl. He was one of the big-time players who sacked on his own Patrick Mahomes. So this is a big-time player, and it comes at the sadness of Christian Barmore having that blood clot. And for those who don't understand what a blood clot can be, it starts very small, and it looks like it's not that big of a deal, but it actually can be a very big deal. It can potentially pop one of his blood vessels, and then he can't use that limb or in his eye, and he goes blind. It's a very serious issue. So I'm glad that that they're helping Christian Barmore and not rushing him and not trying to push him. I'm glad that they got D tackle help for him that I hope he returns, but if he doesn't, he has been a great player for the Patriots. It does suck because it can hit anybody, but they got some help. They obviously got Milton Williams. I believe he's 6'3", 6'4". He may be 6'5", but I forget. I don't think he's 300 pounds. I think he's a big guy, but he's not that big. But they did re-sign Kavion Chasson, not a big time player, but great depth-wise to have. He was a former first-round pick. I don't know if he was a former first-round pick by the Patriots. They've had him for so long. Then they also signed Wes Schweinsteiger. I don't know how to say his last name. I just happened to see the signing just as I booted up my information. I didn't get a notification about this, so it obviously wasn't that big, but I am glad that they're going after O-linemen. And that tells me that going into the draft, they do still technically need wide receiver, but they don't need O-linemen as much. So I'd be okay with if they get Travis Hunter first and then go O-lineman. I was actually saying go defense, go DL first, then go OL second, then go wide receiver. But they couldn't sign anybody, so go wide receiver first. That's totally fine with me. Rookie quarterback, rookie wide receivers. Everybody's on the same page as everybody else. Then they continued reshoring up on the defense of Chairis Tonga. 338 pounds. That is a beast of a defensive tackle. He's not going to be the fastest, but he's definitely going to help for stopping the run game from a lot of these teams, like the Bills, like I'm trying to think of other teams in the division. We've been so bad for a couple of years that I've forgotten. But he is a big-time player to get just because he's a big-time person. He could probably hold back two people. He may not be the fastest guy, but it says here he can be a situational interior run stopper, and that says he's a good complementary piece to Milton Williams, who Milton Williams is a fast time receiver. So if you have a slow big boulder of a guy with a smaller, faster guy, that's going to work out perfectly. And then again, they re-shored up on O-tackle. They got Morgan Morrison, who came from the Jets. And people probably don't know. I don't know a lot of offensive tackle because their names aren't really in the headlines or the stories as much. But everybody kind of knows that they're very important. And then just continue going down the list. And another side note, for some odd reason, people keep thinking that Carlton Davis for his first report was high. But it's like they wouldn't have they clearly don't know. He's obviously not high. He would definitely be drug tested before they signed a guy like this. And Carlton Davis was a big time cornerback. I remember for the Buccaneers when Brady won with them. I didn't realize that he came from the Lions, but that's actually why the Lions cornerbacks were amazing. But now that they have Carlton Davis and Gonzalez, they have probably one of the better cornerback duos in the entire league, and it's just gonna help Gonzalez. Like, he's gonna give his wisdom to Gonzalez, and then Robert Spline is kind of an underrated guy. I actually didn't know about him, but when I was obviously watching all of the videos and learning about him, he just seems like a genuine dude, and like he seems very excited to be here. And I think he's really gonna help the middle of the field because I think that was their issue. They have now the best two cornerbacks in the league, but it was always the middle of the field that was the issue, and it may still be an issue, but we'll have to see. Because even when the Patriots were offensively bad for like 3 years in a row, their defense, I think last year was ranked number 1. And now they've just added to their defense. They drafted all offense last draft. They may draft all offense this draft. And they may still not even sniff playoffs this year or next year. But I do truly believe in this, and this is a hot take. I think they could sneakily get into the playoffs because this is Drake May's first full year. When he finally got the start, it was halfway through the season, and they didn't have these type of players. They won't have a potential Travis Hunter or a potential Mason Graham or the other guy. They won't have the potential O-lineman. They'll just be reshoring up on the issues. And the other benefit of Robert Spline too is, like it says here, it does make Bentley a tradable asset, and he did miss a lot of the 2024 games. I don't know how old he is. I don't think he's that old, but it does make him a trade asset because you only really need one middle linebacker. I mean, one starting one. But a bigger time name, and everybody kind of assumed this was going to happen. Harold Landry came from the Titans and followed Mike Vrabel to here. And I'm very excited about this because that was the first signing that was released. So having the best cornerback duo, the potentially best D tackle, and now one of the best edges in the game, and you've signed a middle linebacker, you've signed a lot of key positions on defense. And people think, oh, they didn't address the offense. Well, they did sign some O-tackle, and the draft is still happening. O-tackle, I think, is one of the more easier positions when you have veterans on the team to teach them how to play. So I think they'll go wide receiver, then O-lineman, then maybe more defense. But I think, because a lot of people are saying they need a wide receiver 1. And then that's the other thing. A lot of these prospects on wide receivers specifically, it's now their second year. It's now a full another season for them to understand the ropes and just really understand things a little bit more. Sorry, I just had lunch, so I'm very I don't know the word I'm trying to think of. Sorry, I actually totally forgot about this. They did actually sign a wide receiver. They signed Mac Hollins, who a lot of people didn't like, but one of my best friends is a huge Buffalo fan, so I saw him play all the time, and he was actually great. Like he kind of took over for Stephon Diggs, who I do actually kind of hope signs in New England. I don't know what I was trying to say there. I've always liked Stephon Diggs because with a good quarterback, Stephon Diggs can be a good player. But I don't think he's signed anywhere. I could be wrong. But yeah, Mac Hollins I think will be great because I don't think they have any other receiver who's 6'4". So having him be 6'4" as a wide receiver, having Hunter Henry, I believe, who's 6'2", maybe he's 6'3", be just another tall guy on the field, it complements the shorter. That's why Gronk and Elderman played so well together, because Gronk was a huge, big, slow guy. I mean, he was faster than me, faster than most people. But Elderman was that quick, nimble guy who could just get out into the open field, and even if he doesn't, Gronk will just push the other people around. So I really, really like these signings. A lot of people do, and a lot of other fan bases like these signings too. Like these are scary signings. Now the interesting one was they signed Josh Dobbs, which I don't know if that's just to have a third quarterback on the team. I don't know if that's them wanting to use what's his name as a trade asset, which I personally say let's keep the other rookie quarterback, because then we have two rookie quarterbacks. Just at the off chance May gets injured or May doesn't actually turn out as great as everybody thinks, then we have a second young quarterback. But the other nice thing about keeping the one guy, forget his name, something the third, Milton the third. The good thing about keeping Milton is he can play a couple games, kind of make his game tape a little bit better, and then like trade him for a bunch of assets, which potentially might be happening. That's probably why they signed Josh Dobbs. And then a late signing that I saw was Marcus Epps, which a great. I like him. I've liked this guy from the Raiders, and it just shores up the quarterbacks. Well, it shores up the safety, but all just helps the cornerbacks as well. Just seeing if there's they with just now the returning is Austin Hooper, another one of the other bigger tight ends that actually played well, I thought. Jalen Hawkins played good. Actually, no, sorry, I was mixing up names. Jerome Farms Jr., they actually had him play on tight end, which I swear I remember that, but it's not saying that here, but I swear I remember that name because he got a touchdown one time. I'm like, who's that guy? But yeah, it's just a bunch of guys that they resigned, and then departures. That's why they signed the third quarterback, because they needed a third quarterback. I didn't realize that Jacob Brissett signed with the Cardinals. Not a lot of names, not a lot of big names that we really lost. This will maybe bite us in the butt, because this is Commanders are a team that, of course, some of the fan base is like, oh, we should have signed Jaden Daniels. But the good and bad thing is Jaden Daniels already had the experience because he's 24. And that's the bad thing, is he's 24. We have 3 years extra with Drake May. And maybe Jaden Daniels doesn't play it as good this year. But I'm quite excited about the signings that the Patriots did. But I'll take a look at the signings around the league. First list is the Cardinals. Any big names? I mean, every name in the NFL to me is a big name, but this is a big name. Josh Sweat signed with the Cardinals. I saw a picture that showed like 6 to 7 Eagles departed after winning the Super Bowl and then went to another team, and then the Eagles only retained like 3 guys or brought in 3 guys, and it's like, that seems like a weird thing to do, is lose that many players after just winning a Super Bowl. It's kind of a similar move of trading Luka after just being in the championship game, which is still a wild trade. Now they've jacked up their prices because I don't know why. Actually, I don't know why I think they jacked them up because they're losing money because people aren't going. It's like, yeah, that's going to happen. If you trade your franchise player, fans are going to stop going. Like, it's like the Patriots in their prime trading Brady, and then seeing fans not showing up and be like, oh, what's wrong? Like, what do you mean, what's wrong? Like, but other players around the league, I actually didn't realize that Jake Matthews still plays, unless I'm thinking of, I'm thinking of Clay Matthews. That's who I'm thinking of. I was really hoping that the Patriots drafted Mike Hughes, because I've always liked Mike Hughes, though I am basing my information off Madden. I also didn't realize that there was a guy named Stormin Norton, so that's funny. Any kind of big names? Oh, I don't know, they retained him. Oh yeah, DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Ravens, which was an interesting team to go to because they haven't exactly been in like the top playoffs. It would have made more sense for him to go to like the Bills or the Chiefs or the Bengals even. The Ravens just seem like they're just not quite there. Maybe he'll help. Maybe, I don't know. But they also got Cooper Rush. Probably just depth. Because I think he just wanted to greatly get out of where was he playing? Dallas. The Bills, I believe they signed Josh Palmer, and they actually signed quite more people than I thought. They actually signed Joey Bosa, which I really thought Joey Bosa was going to go to the 49ers to play with his brother. But I guess not. I guess he wanted to get one more chance at a Super Bowl. Maybe then he'll go to play with his brother. Any names sticking out here? The Bears traded for Joe Thunley, which was interesting because I thought the Chiefs would have wanted to keep Joe Thunley. Like, he was a good offensive tackle for the Patriots when they had him. But I also wonder too if the Chiefs are just making a soft retool, just getting ready for the inevitable of losing Kelsey and potentially Patrick Mahomes in whatever. I think he's only 30 or 28 or whatever. But we'll continue down this list. Scott Daly. Mike. He used to be on the Patriots. Pooran, semi-big name for the Bengals. They got the running back. The Browns, they traded for Kenny Pickett. Not that big. The Browns, Malik Collins, big name, I guess. Any bigger names? C.J. Goodwin for the Cowboys. I was going to say the Dow Boys. Drew Greenlaw to the Broncos, which, again, seems like a very interesting team to go to. But 3 years for $35 million isn't all that much in football terms, so maybe that was the only team that wanted to offer him that much. Though, they do have a young quarterback. And I actually saw that they retained Stidham, and maybe he can give some of his advice that he learned from Brady to Bo Nix. Bo Nix actually has worked out so far for the Broncos. I don't know why I can never remember teams' names. Any big names? Houston, they traded away. I forget his name. What is his name? There was a guy in the draft a couple years ago that there was an alleged picture that came up out of nowhere, that he had like a gas mask on and he was like smoking weed out of it. But I think it was fake or it was actually him. There wasn't really like a confirmation about it, but his draft stock like fell that day. Like he went from like a top 5 projected pick to like he just barely made the first round, maybe even day 2, I forget. But then Houston drafted him and got a steal of the draft, and then they traded him for picks, and I thought that was weird because Houston is one of those like up and coming teams. They have C.J. Stroud. They have some young players on the team, so it just seemed really weird for them to trade one of the bigger O-line tackle. But they got a tackle from the Vikings in a separate trade. They got Christian Kirk. They got Gardner Johnson from the Eagles. So I'm just very interested to see how that trade's going to work out. I don't think it's going to work out for how they think it's going to work out. But the Colts, did they sign anybody? Some big contracts, and I think that name seems familiar to me. That's actually really funny. I didn't realize that. I did not see that. Daniel Jones signed with the Colts out of having a absolutely terrible contract that they just gave to him in Dallas, under Giants. They then bought out that contract, and then he signs a 1-year contract with the Colts, which is a very interesting team to go to. He is a terrible quarterback. Wow, the Jaguars signed a lot of people, like to like long-term contracts. Wow. I mean, the Jaguars are one of those teams that just aren't at that cusp, but they just can't seem to break out of that bubble. The Chiefs, they got Gardner Minshew, they got Elijah Mitchell, they got Bailey Zappi. So the Raiders actually traded for Geno Smith, so that's an interesting one because they didn't have a quarterback. So now that they do, I'm interested to see what they do in the draft because they have a higher pick than I thought. I was really wanting the Patriots to get Jeremiah Jeremy. Well, I don't know why I can't say that person's name. Chin. But again, I'm basing my information off of Madden. But there was a couple players that I thought they missed out on. But I mean, there's only so many players that you can overpay, and they obviously have to make a decision. Like I was kind of hoping they would sign more players, but I think this is how it works. Like one player can potentially change a whole line of people. The Chargers, any big names? I think so. Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo are back. Oh yeah, and the Rams signed Devontae Adams because both Adams and Rodgers got bought out. I mean, I figure they would buy out Devontae because everybody figures he's just going to follow Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed to a team yet. But I think Devontae realized, well, let me get my money. He's getting paid $46 million for 2 years to go play in Los Angeles. He was just he's basically going from Los Angeles to Los Angeles because he went from the Los Angeles to the Raiders to now the Rams, which that could be a good team to go to because they have the quarterback. They have now Devontae Adams. That was one of the players that I was really hoping the Patriots to get. Though I'm fine to not have him but that would have been a great contract, I think, to give out. But I'm still very happy with what they did. Dolphins, they got Westbrook. He actually was on the Patriots. I don't think last year, but he was maybe on the year before. The Vikings, not any big names. Oh, they signed Hargrove, again another player that I remember from Madden. The Patriots, any names that I missed? Like this is a big list of players that they signed. Jalen Hawkins. Yeah, I don't think I missed anybody. I actually don't think I saw this. I didn't realize that Godric's was just traded. I don't think he was just traded. He was probably traded a couple of days ago. But, okay. That's fine. I'm very curious to see if it'll show. Oh, just a 7th? Okay, I may have seen that then. It must have just left my brain. They got Giants got Holland. I was again hoping we'd get Holland because he was actually a great player for the Dolphins. Like he's very fast. So that one kind of sucked, but again, he's getting paid $3 million for 45 years. They were probably willing to overpay for him, and that's fine. Justin Fields signed 2 years with the Jets. So that's an interesting one. They're going from Old Man Rodgers, who doesn't run, to Justin Fields, who only runs. So that's a very different quarterback to have. But yeah, the Eagles, they didn't really retain a lot of people. Like they retained, obviously, Saquon Barkley, and then Zach Bond, and then they signed some people though. They signed Uche, I didn't see that. But they kind of lost a lot of players. Another big name was DJ Metcalf to the Steelers. I was really hoping that the Patriots could have gotten him, but I am okay with that. Again, they probably had to overpay for him and probably didn't like that. I don't know. There was probably just things that they didn't want to do that they were hard set on not doing. I was really hoping to get Darius Slay. That would have been a big time name. It's actually funny. They retained Kyle. The 49ers retained this guy and then immediately cut him. So that'd be a big time player for the Patriots to pick up. Luke Farrell sounds like a familiar name, but I don't remember. Oh, that's funny. The 49ers signed Mac Jones to a 2-year contract. I guess they just saw what they liked in Jaguars. And yeah, when he was on the Jaguars. Any big names? Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp. Oh, and DeMarcus Lawrence went to the Seahawks. The Seahawks did get a new coach, I think. Oh, they did, because the Seattle coach went to the Rams, I believe. So I think the Seahawks had to overpay for a couple people. But this is a lot of money to give to 3 people. Like, obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence would have been a big-time player to get on the edge. That would have been a perfect player to have on the other side. But they got just as good of a player. Cooper Kupp would have been great, but he stopped being great for the Rams, so I think they were okay to not pay him. And then the Seahawks paid Sam Darnold $100 million, $100.5 million, to play for 3 years for them. We'll see how that one works out because they traded Geno Smith. Now they have Sam Darnold. But I don't know if that's going to really work. I think Sam had a great year with the Vikings. And he's going from basically a cold place to a rainy place, actually. So we'll see how that one works out. But Chris Godwin to the Buccaneers. Oh, he retained many big-time names. Kevin Zelter and Cody Burton. Oh, Xavier Woods as well. Oh, wait, Xavier Woods. Isn't that wrestler's name? That's why that sticks out to me. Van Jefferson. Yeah, the Commanders. So this is the guy, is Tunsil. So the Commanders actually traded for Deebo Samuel and Tunsil. They did trade quite a bit, and I think they are trying to not rush Jaden Daniels, but give him the assets now. Because he is 24, so in a couple years, he's going to be 27. But the great thing for Drake May is, in a couple years, he's going to be 23. Like, he's on track to potentially be a better quarterback than Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders did go much further in the playoffs, because the Patriots didn't even make the playoffs. But that is still my hot take, that the Patriots will make the playoffs. But I'll quickly go through this list as I am coming to the end of my podcast. Oh, that was it. I could have sworn there was another team. But yeah, I'm excited for how the Patriots are gonna do. I'm curious to see how the players are gonna gel. I know this isn't gonna be a 1-year rebuild. The contracts are signed for 3 years, so they technically at least have 3 years to get more than 4 wins. I believe they are going to get more than 4 wins, and we'll see how the draft goes. I personally, now that we have the free agency over, I think they'll go Travis Hunter. And I mean, I would have been a little upset at first, but now I think I'd be okay with that because they don't really have a wide receiver 1. But if they don't get Travis Hunter, I'm still okay because the rest of the wide receivers are very young. So we'll just see how everything works out. And again, my hot take is I think that they'll make the playoffs. They'll probably just sneak in, even if they get close. Like even if there are a couple games, because all of the games that they played last year were very close. If they won all of those games, their record would have been vastly different. There was a couple games even against top teams that were very, very close in score. Were like off by a kick, off by a touchdown, or off by them losing to a last-minute score. So I think this will be different. They really shored up on the defense. They're allowing Drake May to not rush. They're potentially going to give him plenty of time, plenty of chances to get onto the field. And I think this is going to be a way better season. I mean, the Patriots have to win more than 4 games, which I think they'll be able to do. So I think it's going to be a better season than last year, regardless. But yeah, that's it, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the draft. I think they'll either take Travis Hunter or that other D tackle, and if not, they'll just trade down. But I think they'll be able to get one of those 2 people, because I feel like it's gonna be quarterback. Even if it's DL or wide receiver, then the Patriots get the other option. Let's say it's DL, then they get Travis Hunter. Let's say it's Travis Hunter, then they get DL. A lot of people do want them to trade down, but I think you have an opportunity to draft a potentially generational defensive tackle to pair with your generational defensive tackle, or to get another young, potentially generational wide receiver to immediately become your wide receiver 1. And then teams will just be overgunning him and leave other people open. So we'll see what happens. But for now, you're awesome, stay awesome, and rock on. Peace.